Hi everybody! Another video, another introduction with Steven. He was just yelling at me from beside the door. So this is going to be a recommendations video based on our May box, which is Rebels with a Cause. This box is set to ship this week, and as of seeing this video, they should be shipping very soon, which is very exciting. Should we put you down? Okay. So I have 5 books to share with you today based on our Rebels with a Cause theme, and I tried to pick some books that I don't talk about all the time on this channel, as there's some pretty obvious ones I could have picked up. But yeah, let's just dive in, and I have some recommendations for you while you wait for your box. First up, I have Want by Cindy Pon. This is a sci-fi book that I read a few years ago and really loved, and I read the sequel quite recently and thought it was just like a fantastic duology and one I want more people to pick up. And this follows our main character, Jason Zhao, and he is living in this world in which the rich can basically buy longer lives by purchasing these exosuits that will like filter out pollution and plague and things like that, while the poor just have to suffer and lead short lives. He is currently grieving the death of his mother, and he sets out to destroy this system from the inside and kind of infiltrate this huge corporation that makes these suits called the Jin Corporation. And it turns out that all of this excess pollution that's happening might actually be being produced in part by this corporation, adding to the necessity for these suits. So he kind of enters this new world and from the inside is trying to figure out this power hierarchy. It's very political, it's very fast-paced and action-packed. There's a bit of a romance in here. I just think it's a really fantastic world and more people should pick it up. Next up, I have The Girl King by Mimi Yu. This is a fantasy series. I don't think the next book is out yet, but this is the first in a series following 2 sisters of royalty who are Lu and Min. And for their whole lives, they've kind of known their position in society. Lu is set to become her father's heir and be the first female ruler of her empire, and then Min is set to kind of follow her in her footsteps. But surprise, surprise, their father surprisingly, out of nowhere, decides to appoint their male cousin as the heir instead of Lu. And Lu goes out and kind of searches for her birthright, and she searches for supporters to kind of take back what is owed to her. She kind of reluctantly ends up teaming up with a boy named Nock, who is part of a people who are wolf shapeshifters, though he has not yet come into his shape-shifting powers or hasn't ever learned to do it. And they, again, reluctantly kind of team up. They're natural enemies, but they decide to come together and try to find out a way to take back what is theirs. It's fast-paced, it's pitting sisters against sisters. Lu and Min end up kind of coming to a head, let's say, because they both want different things. And it's such an interesting world with these different people and these different kingdoms, and I think that Mimi Yu just did a really good job of setting up this series. Again, I flew through it in just a couple days, and if you're looking for a different type of fantasy, this is definitely something that kind of came at me from left field and I really liked, so I hope you like it too. Next up is a book that I have talked about a lot on this channel, so it's not one of the more lesser known ones, but I still feel like it is not the most read series in kind of the bookish community, and that is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. This is technically an adult book, but it follows our main character Paige Mahoney, who is a clairvoyant in London in the year 2059. And in this society, in this London, being clairvoyant is highly illegal. So she is working with a criminal underground as somebody who finds information, because Paige is a dream walker. So she can basically walk through people's minds to find information. The beginning of the book, she is captured, and her and some fellow other clairvoyants are taken to the city of Oxford, which is basically acting as a prison for clairvoyants. She's assigned to this kind of powerful being, human-like being, but not human, called a Rephaite. His name is Warden, and she knows that in order to survive, she kind of has to get in his good graces, shall we say. I read this book a long time ago, years and years. I think it could potentially be the year it came out, or maybe the year after, and just completely fell in love with the world. It is just such there's so much detail happening. Samantha Shannon is a fabulous writer, and you really do put yourself in this just harrowing situation. I've also read books 2 and 3 in the series. Book 4 is coming out soon, and I like them just as much. This cast of characters just get under your skin. And I'll also say that Samantha Shannon writes the best fighting action scenes that I've ever read. Sometimes if I'm reading like a fight scene, I kind of find it a bit boring or repetitive, but not in this book, but in follow-up books, there are long fight scenes that are pages long, and I was just enraptured the entire time, and I just think that ability in writing is so unique, and I love it. Next up is another book that I've mentioned several times, but again, I think is super underrated, and that is Ink and Bone by Rachel Caine. This is the first book in a, I believe, now completed 5-book series that follows our main character, Jess Brightwell. This is a world in which the Library of Alexandria was never destroyed, and now they are kind of the ruling government of the world. They control the access to all information. And in this current world, owning books, physical books, is highly illegal, and it's a black market. And they need to control everything that you are able to consume. So Jess is part of a family of book smugglers, and his family sends him to the Great Library to train as a librarian to kind of infiltrate the library and get access to more of these books. So it's great in a way that there's kind of this cast of characters like doing like the training montage, which you love in different ways. And things are very, very much controlled and very strict within the library life. And then one day, Jess's friend within the library creates something that is so upsetting and so illegal and so just unheard of in this current world that everybody's lives are in danger. I've only read the first 3 books, but I've loved them all. It's such an interesting take on the world. Like, I've never read a book in which the Library of Alexandria was never destroyed, and then to take that and make that more of a negative thing rather than a positive thing. I just find it super interesting, and it's one that I would definitely recommend you pick up. And finally, I have another sci-fi book, and that is XO by Fonda Lee. This book is criminally underrated. It has such interesting discussions and writing and just plot, but basically this is about our main character, Donovan. His father holds like a prestigious high up government position, and this is set on a world that 100 years ago was colonized by aliens. So within this society, being part of the government is, you know, a good thing. Donovan is super happy to be in this position in society. He gets to wear an exosuit, which is alien technology that molds to his skin to enhance his abilities and keep him healthy and safe. But obviously not everybody has access to this. But there is also this other faction of people called Sapients, and they are a group of people who don't want to be colonized by aliens, who are against the colonization, and they one day during like a routine patrol that Donovan is on, they abduct him. They abduct Donovan and hold him for ransom. But basically, Donovan's father considers this group a terrorist group, and even though it's his son that has been abducted, he won't bargain with this group of people. And Donovan ends up becoming this very important figure because if the group decides to kill him, it could potentially start another intergalactic war, which Earth lost the last time, hence being colonized by aliens. I thought it was just such a fascinating discussion on colonization, which is obviously an important topic, a touchy topic, a relevant topic, and I just thought it was done in such a way that makes you think about colonization and just consider it more, shall we say. Consider about the ways that colonization has been used in our own society. So, super underrated. Not only are the discussions great, but the story itself is fantastic, and I don't think I've met anybody else who has ever read this book, and I really, really love it. So if you are interested, I encourage you to pick it up. Okay, so those are 5 books I want to recommend based on our May Rebels with a Cause theme. Now, unfortunately, of course, this box is sold out, but if you did get a box, they are shipping this week, which is super exciting, and I hope you get them soon. Let me know if you have any other recommendations on kind of on this Rebels with a Cause theme. I'd love to hear from you. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Happy reading, and thanks for being awesome. Bye!